The next thing I'm going to show you is the Play Around Pack. This has been really popular with everyone. It's a group of colours. It's got 2 background fabrics that you can work on. It's got a collection of organzas. It's got some fabulous colours of beads. It's obviously got the needles as well. And it's got a range of colours. And you can see by the range of colours, they've got some variegated threads. You've got some woolen threads, some sparkly threads, a little bit of bead thread. And then we've got some textures here as well. We've got some mohair, we've got some wool, just so that you can create a landscape or practice a stitch and create your own designs. And I've got one that I've gone here, so I'll just bring that across and show you. So this is the first one. This is worked on the tweed fabric. That's our Rowandean fabric, and I've just really had a play with the colours that are in your pack. I've tried out some stitches like spider's webs or loopy French knots or fly stitch. I've taken another stitch and I've done just little experiments with the stitch all over the fabric, so which you could keep these as a whole picture, or you could cut those up, put them into a card. The second fabric that we use is a cotton fabric. It's the cotton that we use on our kits, and in your design, as well as having all the organzas and the threads, you'll get a chance to create some original ideas. All right, so what I've used mine, I've put it into my hoop, and I've just really, all I've done to start with is taken a little bit of the organza, and I've put the organza on the bias, so that's the stretchy part, and I'm just going to cut some little pieces, and I'm just going to distort that, and I'm just going to fray that just to make it look interesting. So the idea of the organza is just to create a little bit of colour in the background, and then that's going to be applied to your design and then pinned on, and then you can actually have a go at doing some different stitches. I'm going to have a go with a shaded thread, so I'm just going to pick my work up, and one of the stitches that I quite like is a long-legged French knot, so I'm just going to show you how to do that. So you bring the thread up from the back, and then you're just going to wind the thread around once, twice, and then instead of going into the same place, you're going to take the thread higher, and it just gives it a little, almost like a stamen on a flower. It's a great stitch, something that I quite like to use. So you're going to go around once, twice, and then you can make that any length. Same as before, let the thread travel in on its own. I'm just going to show you how to do a fly stitch. So you bring the thread onto the surface, and then you're just going to insert the needle and bring it back through onto the right side of the fabric, and you're just going to tuck the thread under the needle, and then as you pull that thread, you'll get the Y appearing, and then you're just going to hold that little thread in place just by going over, making a stitch. So it could be a long stitch or it could be a short stitch. Lovely. You often use those for grasses and plants. I'm just going to show you how to use some beads here. Obviously you'll get a mix of colours. I'm using a different needle and a different thread. So the bead thread here is great because it doesn't stretch, so your beads that you're stitching on will be held secure. And I've put my beads into a little container, and then I'm just going to pick those up, and you can add those. Just take the bead, and then you're just going to thread it onto the needle, and then just push the needle back into the fabric, and then you've got your bead. It's so easy to do. You can add columns of beads, you can add some of the bugles. Now these are the bugles, they're like a straight bead. You can mix the colours, and I just think they add a lot of interest to a piece of work. So I think at the moment you'll find lots of uses for those and lots of ideas. Create a bit of texture. design to fasten off. You just a couple of stitches on the back, and you can just have great fun. You'll get an array of colours. You might get some sequins as well, and create a lovely design.